It's time to talk sports. It's time for the show. When you hear this song on the radio, it's time to tune in. Better act fast. Let me get that autograph. Autograph. Sports Talk Radio. Starting now.
It's time. What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 160 of Let Me Get That Autograph. As always, my name is Drew, or the DH, and joining me, my awesome co-host, Mr. Scott Rappaport. What's up, dude?
Hey, you know what? I made it another week on the show.
Yeah?
Kellen Mond, on the other hand, sorry, man.
Yeah, we'll go on and do our movers and shakers right now. Kellen Mond, shaking and moving all the way down to the unemployment line.
Actually, no, he's back employed. He Cleveland.
Oh yeah, Cleveland. Yeah, might as well be unemployed.
Well, but here's the thing: he got signed as the third string quarterback for Cleveland, which basically means he's going to ride the bench for 11 weeks,
right?
And then he'll be back on the unemployment line.
Yes.
Because as soon as Deshaun Watson gets back, guess who's getting cut?
Yeah, Kellen Mond.
Kellen Mond. So the dude that turned down a $30,000 offer on that Shield auto, and then like literally hours later, the dude gets cut. I mean, come on.
Prime example of being greedy. Like, wanting that extra. I mean, I guarantee you, if someone had offered him 35 or 40, he takes it. It's that extra little bit that he had to squeeze out, and this is what happens.
Now, here's the thing: that card was not a $30,000 card.
Card wasn't a $10,000 card.
No, and in fact, it would be a stretch at $5,000.
Yes.
Right now, the kid would be lucky to get $1,000 for it.
Yeah,
and he just. Don't be greedy.
No. That's why I tell people all the time, take your money when it's something like that. I mean, no matter what, no matter how much money you put into it, you didn't have 30 grand into it. Take that 30 G's and put it into a quarterback that, I don't know, is on a team, or I don't know, not holding a clipboard. I mean, lots of different things. But, speaking of quarterbacks not holding a clipboard, before we dive into today's episode, because guys, we have a jam-packed episode full of scandals, of course, and lots of other stuff going on.
Because it's not an episode without a scandal, but we have not one, but two. Yeah, two scandals this week.
Yes, to go over today. And no, it is not your 25th update on a scandal that did not actually happen. It is a brand new, all new stuff, just like this all new episode. But before we get into it, man, speaking of quarterbacks that aren't holding clipboards, the Justin Herbert 101 Prism Black Finite, right before we started recording this on Wednesday, was announced and finally shown as being pulled from Prism. It has finally been pulled from Prism. And you know what? I completely forgot that it was even still in there.
Yeah. I have not heard of a lot of people, going crazy and ripping 2020 Prism, mainly because the price. And that Black Finite is not in retail. Right. So, you're not going to find it in a blaster, a hanger, a cello pack or anything like that. So the costs on this stuff have gone through the roof. And it's because it's a good class. I mean, and that's where the pricing was. It wasn't because the Herbert was still in there. The pricing was there because the class is so good. Yeah, and I'm curious to see if the pricing is going to go down, though, because that Herbert got pulled. I don't think it will, but it's still, I mean, I can't believe that took that long to pull it. It reminds me, remember 2018 Bowman? It took forever for that Ohtani 101 auto to get pulled.
Yes.
I mean, not as long as the Herbert, but it's still, it's like, holy cow, how is this still sitting out there?
And it's one of those things, it shows you buy that old wax. You never know what's in there. I mean, I myself personally just bought a couple of boxes of old wax last week. Hit 2 awesome Kobe Bryant refractors. I mean, there's always amazing stuff in older wax, and that's why you see the price of some of this Prism up there. But It's awesome that it's pulled. I love that hits like that are still in boxes. I love that you're still able to do that. Like you're still able to have case breaks of 2020 and stuff like that and hit the chase card probably of the product. I mean, let's be honest, the Chargers have weapons that they're building a team around him, man.
Well, but there's the downside to having all that wax sitting there unopened because it's too pricey is guys that are chasing rainbows.
Yes.
A lot of those, low numbered cards, the black finites, the ones out of 5 and stuff like that. A lot of those are still sitting in unopened product. Yeah. And may never see the light of day because there's so many people that buy the unopened product and keep it unopened, and they'll sell it to somebody who will also keep it unopened. Yeah. And it's, imagine like if you had a box of 1952 Topps baseball, unopened, and would you open it?
Yeah,
I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, that's like and I don't own a card shop because I would rip all the wax myself.
Yeah.
I can't sit on unopened wax. Though, that's one of those. It's like I would have a very difficult time keeping, making that decision on whether or not to rip or not, and that's going to hold back. And especially the guys that are sitting on a ton of that 2020 Prism football, that's going to hold back a lot of the cards, like the Herbert that we just saw.
No, 100%. But thought it was cool that it has finally been pulled. So stop chasing it if you are chasing it, or go out there and try and buy it. It looks to be in good shape. It's going to grade well, I think. I'm going to be real interested to see the sale on this when it ultimately happens. I think it's going to be an absolute monster, especially if it's done during the season and he has any type of season like we think he's going to have. But Scott, let's dive into the meat and bones of this week's episode. And we're going to start it off, man, with another scandal that kind of falls in line with some stuff that we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. Everyone remembers the Arozarena dual auto with Meadows that was obviously forged by somebody else. Then we had the Jared Kelenic that we spoke about a few weeks ago from Panini that was deemed as not his autograph, that looked like it was not his autograph. And now we have another one, but this one gets a little interesting. And it got a little interesting right away.
Well, but here's so before we even get into the part that, we are saying really makes it interesting, this is from the first one, the Arozarena Meadows was a Topps product. The Kelenic was a Panini product. Now we have one from Leaf.
Yes, the Pele. This is the Pele printing plate that they had put out from one of their products, an autograph printing plate. And it has come back as deemed inconclusive, unable to render an opinion. And Brian Gray immediately, under the Leaf account, not his account, but Leaf put out a statement immediately that says most are Leaf rep witness and the rest are agent and player sworn affidavits with an agent assigned witness. Pele, Pacino, Messi were all examples of PSA rejected. Pacino and Messi were Beckett witnessed and Pele was Leaf rep witness. Now, Brian Gray then went on to state that he says, yes, PSA is out of their minds. All of these are witnessed by a Leaf rep. This has been a problem lately in multiple areas, and it's becoming suspicious. Which, of course, Nat Turner then replied, every single sticker signing is witnessed by Leaf, and then Ken Golden with his sarcastic popcorn emojis.
Because, of course, Ken Golden's got to jump in on this.
Of course he does.
It's not, he's got to keep himself relevant. Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those things. Now, here's the thing that I can tell you about the Leaf signings. When I was at the National, I was actually with Brian Gray, and we were talking about Pop Century. And there is a celebrity signing in there. I'm not going to mention who, because Brian wasn't necessarily supposed to share this. He wasn't supposed to share it publicly. There was a picture of him with a celebrity in a not inappropriate, but not the most flattering, type of situation where he is actually with that celebrity signing autographs. So you can, I know that Brian does personally attend a lot of these signings, especially with the top people. And I'm willing to bet that Brian's got pictures with Pele signing.
Well, he actually posted one.
There you go.
Not too long ago that says, here's a photo from one of our Pele signings. We've been working closely with him for the last 8 years, and it's him signing stickers.
Yeah. Now, the reality is, I think Brian was at that one personally because, let's be honest, who wouldn't want to hang out with Pele?
Right?
It's Pele. I'd go to that. I mean, if that were my company, I'd be going to that signing. No question.
Absolutely.
And it's one of those things where I'm not entirely sure what's going on. Now, I understand the Rosarena and Meadows one.
Me too.
Okay. That one I get. The Kalenic one, I get that too.
Yep.
But this situation, I don't think Leaf has ever been accused of having a fake auto on anything.
No. Brian works. One thing I do know, and I know Brian very well. He was a part of Hobby Hotline for a while, and I've just had a good relationship with him like you have. And Brian has worked way too hard to get Leaf where it is, to do something stupid like that. Like he is a very good businessman. That is not something he would do. He would go out and find a way to buy something to get it done, like to do that instead of trying to forge a freaking Pele printing plate auto, which by the way, the auto looks good.
Yeah.
The Kalenic, terrible.
Yeah,
the
no, exactly.
Terrible. This one, nah, dude. Like there's a million examples online that look great.
Now here's the thing. So Nat, at the same time, Nat's question where he asked, so Leaf representative is there for every signing. That was actually a legit question.
Yes.
That was the okay, it's a legit question. Ken's comment or emoji comment on that one is where things kind of took a turn for the insane. That's
just trying to stir up and get the guys to go at each other, and Ken knew what he was doing. He's not that stupid. But the Nat question is 100% legit and a valid question, and it's what I said I think a couple of weeks ago on this show. There's no reason in this day and age, and I put it on Twitter as well, where you can't have a video, a Zoom, or something. If you can't, I understand that you may not be able, with all the athletes in the world, all over everywhere, to be able to have a representative at every single place, because you don't get them all there at once. They're sent out everywhere. I get that.
Yep.
But we have amazing technology. You and me are looking at each other right now, and I'm going to put a clip of it up on the freaking internet later showing it. There's ways to do this where it can be seen, and no one even has to be sitting there watching it. You can have it zoomed in. You click done on StreamYard. You click done. It's archived. If there's ever a question, people can look at it later. You can have random checks to make sure everything's done correctly, speed it up 3 times and cut everything out and make this stuff to where it's assured. But if you're going to guarantee stuff, then you need to have something in place that is proof of a guarantee. You can't say, I guarantee that this blah, 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 this autograph is certified by whatever, and expect your certification to mean shit if you're not doing anything to be able to have any proof whatsoever.
No, exactly.
Now, I know Brian said that a lot of them, or Leaf statement said that at most signings, someone's there, but then also you said that they saw included or is attested by a player rep or agent. Well, big fucking deal. Those are the guys that are probably signing the damn cards when we have a problem.
Well, but here's the thing. If they're signing an affidavit attesting that the athlete is the one that signed it, that is a legal document.
Of course it is.
So at that point, is it on the card company or is it on the, whoever it was that signed the affidavit? Now, here's the part that gets me. So the Messi got returned as suspect.
Yes.
That was witnessed by Beckett.
Right.
That was somebody from their authentication department. And given that it's messy, I'm willing to bet that Steve Grad did that one himself.
I will.
Because again, who wouldn't want to hang out with Messi?
Exactly. If Grad wasn't already busy, then he was there.
Yeah. Well, I would say the only thing that would keep him from hanging out with Messi would be filming a Pawn Stars episode.
Yeah.
But that's one of those things where it's like, all right, I'd go do that. I would drop whatever I'm doing and go hang out with Messi for an hour or so to do the signings. So is it now? But the question is, before that statement came out, was it known that it was Beckett witnessed?
Right.
Because then it begs the question: if it is known that it's Beckett witnessed, and PSA said it's suspect, is there something political?
Exactly
going on?
And Brian Gray alluded to that in a very soft and slight way. Alluded to there being issues at PSA right now when it comes to.
But here's what I'd say: Brian doesn't do things soft.
No,
he's the bull. He's the bull in the china shop.
Yes, he is. But he threw that one in softly,
which is very un-Brian like.
It is.
I want to know there's got to be something behind it.
Yeah. There's
got to be a reason why, I'm not an expert, but the auto definitely looks like Pele to me, as opposed to a Rosarena and Meadows and Kalenic.
It's a Pele auto 100%. I'll stake my reputation on it. That's a Pele auto all day long.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure what to make of it.
I know. I'm not either, and I'm also not sure what to make of like Nat Turner's immediate response of like fighting back. It kind of fall on the grading company if this Pele is legit. If let's say I'm assuming Brian Gray's not the type of person that's just going to sit back and let it go. He's gonna He's gonna make sure he finds someone to check out that Pele again to have it proven, because. He wants to protect his company's reputation, and he should.
No, absolutely. In fact, he should find multiple.
Yes.
It should go to
JSA.
It actually should go to JSA first.
Yeah.
And the reason it should go to JSA first is because it actually works with Beckett to do a lot of his autograph certification and slabbing. Having them be the first ones to say, no, it's legit. You can make the argument that they work with Brian and all this other stuff, and but I think JSA would be the place to go first in that particular situation, and then go to Beckett and have them take a look at it as well. Unless, of course, this was one of those situations where Beckett witnessed it, in which case they can come out immediately and say yes, it's him. But I have no doubt that it's not legit. Now, Nat coming out and asking a question as a defense for PSA, I understand that because he's got to protect his assets. It's very possible. It's very possible that Nat's got no idea that things like this are being rejected for reasons other than it's legitimately suspect.
Right.
That again, I'll go back to the Kalenic.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. That should have been rejected.
Wrong.
There's no question about it. Because that was absolutely suspect. This is not suspect.
No.
So I'm not entirely sure what to make of it, but I've been saying for a long time that there is a political aspect between the grading companies, which is why if you're going to try to cross from one grading company to another, always crack it and send it in raw. Don't send it in that slab, because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get the grade that you think you're going to get, or it's not going to cross over properly. So we knew that goes on within grading, but now it's a whole different level because we're talking about authenticity.
Yeah.
Grading is subjective.
Yes.
And to a certain extent, autograph authentication is still an opinion,
but
it's an educated opinion.
Yes. And
when it's on a sticker that, comes from the company, it's not just a blank sticker. It's got the, Leaf logo all over it. This is one of those things where, okay, this should be a no-brainer because it's they're typically attested to or witnessed by. And,
right.
Especially when you got a guy like Pele who has been working with Leaf for a long time.
For a long time.
This isn't his first run.
No. I mean, he was the highlight of Leaf Pearl when they put it out was, having Pele autos in there on card. Like, I mean, he's been working with them for a very long time, but we'll keep you guys updated on this. I'm assuming Beckett's going to come since they have witnessed some of the stuff's going to come out and say some things. And I'm sure a lot more of this story will come out, but there's definitely a lot of questions. And of course, it wouldn't be a week in the hobby without some type of scandal. So a Pele auto that looks to be legit being pushed out by PSA, Brian Gray, suggesting some possible subjectivity there, and Nat Turner raising some very valid points. But we will keep you guys updated, as I said, on that. But Scott, following up with football, sticking on football, we've got the transfer window coming up. Now, normally we'd be doing movers and shakers, but this week there's so much moving and shaking going on in the transfer portal window that we're going to focus on what's going on in soccer, and then a really interesting and quite funny, in my opinion, development with one of the young rising stars of soccer.
And Drew, I'll tell you, this week I have had a lot more time to focus and actually watch the transfer window come to a close with soccer, because so as you guys know, I got certified as a referee for the USSF, and I had my first refereeing experience over the weekend. I did 4 games in a row at a tournament and no breaks in between. And let me tell you, I stretched beforehand and I stretched like I do when I play. Well, I didn't realize that you're using different muscles as a ref than you are as a player. And I have been sore on my ass all week. And now my dumbass has another tournament coming up where I'm doing 10 games in a 3-day period.
Enjoy.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be fun. So anyway, I've had a lot of time to look at the soccer transfer window. And there have been some like crazy moves.
Oh, massive.
And now we may not even get to all of them because, it's Thursday morning. Transfer window closes this afternoon. So by the time we're done recording, there may be some more, including it's still possible that Ronaldo may wind up leaving Man U. And I understand his reasoning. He kind of wants out because Man U didn't qualify for the Champions League. And at his age, he wants to play in the Champions League. I get that. But here's a big one. Antony.
Yes.
Is moving from Ajax, which is in the Champions League, to Man U. And now, granted, he's going from the Dutch league to the English Premier League. So whether or not you're playing for the in the Champions League is a whole other issue. And let's be honest, Ajax is not going to win the Champions League anyway.
No.
So he's going to Man U, which is a huge one.
Massive move for this kid.
That is a massive move. We've got Wesley Fofana moving from Leicester City to Chelsea, which was a big one. He's kind of an up and coming. Ricardo Pepi.
Yes,
actually,
this was
your man took a loan. He moved from Augsburg to Groningen, if I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah,
which I think is a tier down.
It is. I think he's waiting for. He knew that. I think that they knew that this transfer window was going to be as busy as you said, and I think you're going to see him on the move in the next year or two to his big step up, his big team up.
Oh, I agree. Now here's the thing though. You've got all of these guys, and Pulisic may wind up getting loaned out too.
Yes,
because you've got these guys that are not playing a ton of minutes right now, and you've got the national teams, which they're all part of, bitching and moaning about, look, these guys need their playing time because the World Cup is coming up in like 3 months. They want to get these guys on the field. Yeah. So, Pepe was willing to take a loan to a lower division, which is fine. Pulisic needs to get playing time because if they're not ready and not in shape and not, game ready, the chances of them actually making it on the final roster for their national team is so you've got this, some of these weird situations.
Well, that's that's why I like the Pepe move, because now he's going to get a ton of playing time. And look, I know a lot of soccer, yes, it's based on what team you're on, but then a lot of it's not. Like if you're performing and you're playing and that's it, they assume eventually you're going to hit that EPL team, that Bundesliga team, whatever it may be, that Champions League team that, is going to make you a superstar forever. And so the hype on these guys starts to really pick up. So if Pepe taking that loan, Pulisic taking that loan to get playing time and to get minutes and goals scored and assists and,
and that's why I wasn't big. I wasn't, freaking out when Sidney Rehbiger moved from a Bundesliga team, RB Leipzig, to a Bundesliga 2 team,
right?
Where he's going to get more playing time.
Exactly.
Now, soccer is a little bit different when it comes to movement and trades and all that kind of stuff, because one, you have, these transfer windows where players are allowed to move back, to different teams. But from this afternoon when the transfer window closes until like January, there's no movement allowed. Yeah. Then there's another January window that opens up. And then once that closes, you've got until the end of the year. Once the league seasons end, then the summer transfer window is open. This is the tail end of the summer transfer window. Right. So guys that are there now, once they move to a new team as of tomorrow, they're stuck with that team no matter what until January. Yeah. As opposed to the other leagues that, we're all used to in the US where, you can trade at any point during the season until that final trade deadline.
Right.
Baseball, it's usually, July 31st, or this year was like August 3rd or something like that, early, where now you can't trade. But you could have traded from day one all the way through the end. And, the other sports are the same. But soccer has these weird windows. But the other thing that's different is, and we're seeing this with Pepe. Pepe is still signed by his team. He's just being loaned to a different team. And you can do that in soccer. That would be like
the Yankees loaning Aaron Judge to the Braves for a little bit.
Exactly. It's like, hey, he's still under contract or the Angels saying, you know what? Trout's contract is a little too long. Let's try to get out of it for a couple of years. Yeah. We'll loan him to the Cubs. Yeah. And then, on like a 2-year loan, and then he'll come back to the Angels. Cubs will pick up his salary and things like that. So it's a little bit different, but we've got some crazy moves coming up, and I'm just going through this list. I'm trying to go a little bit. All right,
so we've got all these moves and everything's going on. Which one guy who is not moving, I want to touch on some crazy stuff that happened this week with him in just a moment. But with all these moves, who are some of the guys from a hobby standpoint? Because look, when these guys move, rookies, other players, that obviously someone fills their position. So a lot of these guys that we're talking about that are moving down or moving around to get more playing time and step up, they're going to get a higher spotlight. But the new generation is also getting a massive boost from all of this. So who are some of the guys that you see as some of the big winners hobby-wise from all this?
And that remains to be seen, because you've got a lot of time, or, a lot of these times where, I use the Antony move to Man U. I don't think it's going to be a rookie that winds up taking his spot at Ajax. Kind of like, it wasn't necessarily a rookie who took Haaland's spot at Dortmund.
Right.
Granted, it was a rookie, like 2 years ago was, Makoko.
Yeah.
And he's going to wind up being somebody that gets picked up. There's a lot of unknowns within that hobby, or within the hobby. I think some of the moves into Barcelona are actually going to hurt one of last year's rookies, and that's Gavi's trying to get a bunch of playing time, and Barcelona was in a lot of trouble financially, and they weren't able to make some moves over the summer, but they got that figured out, and they're able to try to bring some guys in, which I think might actually hurt it.
Yeah, I don't really like hearing that, because I have a lot of Gavi and I like him a lot. But
look, I think long term, Gavi's a smart move. He's a smart play.
I agree. It's just not as immediate as you expected it a little while ago. But the interesting thing about all of this is that it opens up like with a transfer window like this, with so many changes, with so many people coming up. It really, we had the World Cup quote unquote bump coming up here soon, but this really pushes prospecting and pushes a lot of speculation into the soccer market, which I think, like you and I were talking about last week, I think sets the soccer market apart again as one of those markets that's just still a hidden gem. I mean, cards are selling for a lot of money, but it is still a hidden gem in the hobby where I think this big transfer window is just going to help push that forward even further.
Yeah. And here's one that's actually just breaking as we're recording right now. Sergino Dest is going to AC Milan.
Wow.
And that's a loan.
Whoa. That's a big, they're right there. Another big one.
Well, that's a big one because Dest wasn't getting playing time in Barcelona. And he's one of those players that's on the U.S. men's national team that their coaches are, getting all bent out of shape because he's not getting playing time. Exactly. But he will end up getting playing time in Milan. Yeah. And, Milan's another Champions League team. So he's going to be getting the top level, experience against those Champions League teams, opposed to the, Italian league, which is, it's solid, but it's not La Liga. It's not Premier League. But I think it's a good move for him because he's going to be playing on a daily basis.
Absolutely. Well, one thing's for sure, there's going to be a lot of action and a lot of movement, probably some more moves today. But the soccer market, guys, it is definitely heating up. But
speaking of moves within the soccer market, though,
yeah,
another guy that we haven't talked about because he isn't moving anywhere.
Right.
It's Kylian Mbappe. So, dude finally had his first auto card in a Topps Chrome product as part of the PSG set. We talked about that a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And Drew, you found out some additional interesting information as part of that.
Yeah, well, not only was his first Topps Chrome auto card, this was his first Topps auto ever. He had never had a Topps autograph, period, until the PSG set. That set that was released earlier this month, that's for, I don't remember, it was like $15,000-$20,000 or something for the box set of the PSG set, but it included this autograph in it. We talked about it on the show and about the box price when it happened. So his first auto card comes out. Well, 2 weeks go by, and a couple of days ago, Panini announces that they are now the exclusive provider for Mbappe autograph trading cards and memorabilia. So as soon as he signs his first Topps autograph ever, Panini swoops in, steals him, and now has all the autos for everything because they were in a situation where they were rough on being able to get his signature due to licenses and everything like that. And now they're the exclusive providers. Obviously, this has created a massive Topps Chrome card, and those PSG sets now look a lot more, the price tag seems a lot more reasonable with some of these things going for around $12,000, just the base regular cards. I mean, these are,
and there's at least one base regular Mbappe auto in every one of those sets. So now if those are actually selling for $12,000, it makes that price. I mean, we were laughing at, was it 15 grand is what they were asking for. Like, it makes that price reasonable because you also got the you got a Messi in there.
Even if it sells for 8, I mean, it still makes it worth it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and that's the base. Remember, there's other colors in there too. So I've got a couple of questions as it pertains to the Panini signing.
Sure.
So Mbappe signed stickers for Topps because all the soccer autographs are sticker.
Yeah.
What happens if Topps has a shitload of stickers left over and they were planning on using them for next year's Champions League set, with an Mbappe auto. Could they still do it since Mbappe signed the stickers already?
No, because if he signed an exclusive, that means they can no longer put out anything. Now, the only way that that would be possible would be if the rumor that every other content creator and their mother seems to want to put out that Panini's about to be bought by Fanatics in a week, and that they've been saying
that for a long time. Now,
yeah.
I made that comment. I'm like, Panini. Well, one, they probably want Mbappe's auto in the World Cup.
That's exactly what it
is. That's probably the main reason. But having him as an exclusive provides more value to the company. And as I've been saying for a long time, the current contract that Panini has with the NFL and the NBA is much more profitable for Panini than the Fanatics contract is. The new one that they're going to be taking over. So the longer that Panini goes without being bought, the smaller the window becomes to make better profit. So it kind of devalues the sale of Panini. And I'm thinking that there was that window, like Fanatics has this balance here where it's like, okay, well, they've got X amount of dollars and they're going to lower it every, so often, knowing that, the profit and, the P&L window and all that. I mean, we're talking econ, probably 300 here at this point. But this adds extra value knowing that they have Mbappe. But here's the thing. So Topps is still going to be able to make Mbappe cards.
Oh,
as part of the Champions League set. It's a very similar situation to why Panini is able to make LeBron James cards until he retires.
Right.
The minute he retires and he's no longer an active player, he's an Upper Deck exclusive.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to make cards of him anymore.
Just like Jordan, just like a really bad example, but Ben Simmons for a modern day example.
But my question is, if the stickers were already signed prior to Mbappe,
But the product hasn't been put out. It doesn't matter when they were signed. It's that you're putting them out in a product after the exclusive has been signed. The stickers don't mean that the card's done. You know what I mean? The sticker just means that they have inventory of autographs. Now, do I think they're going to be able to use those autographs one day? Yes.
Oh, well, I mean, that's a different story because,
I 1000% think that, especially as much as soccer seems to move around their licenses, even if Panini stays a separate entity, they move their licenses so much. I'm sure eventually they'll be able to use whatever stickers they have if they didn't already plan this and if this hasn't been in the works for a while. But just because the stickers are signed, in no way, at least in my mind, does that mean that the card is made. And if you're putting a product out after the exclusive's been signed, then there's absolutely no way. Because I know other companies had, for example, Kobe autographs or Kevin Durant autographs, people like that, before they signed exclusives. Well, as soon as they signed exclusives, there's been no autos of them since. Panini has them. Kobe, obviously, for different reasons, but that's kind of how it is. Just because the stickers are signed, though, the cards aren't made and the cards haven't been put out. And so if it's not a physical release, no, you can't put them out anymore. This is going to be the only Topps Mbappe card for who knows how long.
Yeah, for at least the foreseeable future, because the soccer card licenses have not been purchased by, at least the ones that Panini has have not been purchased by Fanatics. Although they are getting the stickers.
Now, see, there's one way they could use them, I guess, if Topps does have, the right to be able to produce stickers or anything like that. I guess technically.
Well, you're not going to put an autograph sticker on a sticker.
That's my point. And so, I don't really see him using them. I think it's one of those things where they're just going to be dead stock and they're going to lay there until they're finally able to use them one day, and people can just know that there's probably a couple boxes full of Mbappe autos that were planned on being used in Sapphire and countless other products, but now will not be used as Mbappe has signed an exclusive agreement with Panini, and all of his cards and memorabilia, which is a massive part of it also, all the memorabilia Panini can do and everything else is exclusive with Panini. So Mbappe making that money just like he should. And Scott, speaking of making that money, we'll be back. We got to go pay some bills. And welcome back, everybody, to episode 160 of Let Me Get That Autograph. And Scott, we got a couple more things to discuss before we wrap up today's episode. And this is just funny to me. So we already talked about Kellen Mond and the massive mistake that one person made. This might qualify as a second mistake of the day, but recently the Davis Mills Black Finite non-auto graded BGS 9.5 sold for $40,000, while at the same time 2 weeks earlier a Trevor Lawrence Prism 1/1 Black Finite PSA 10 patch auto only sold for $22,000. Now his non-auto obviously is a PSA 6 sold for $150K, but Davis Mills non-auto Black Finite outselling Trevor Lawrence 1/1 patch shield by $18,000. What the hell?
Drugs.
Yes.
We have a drug epidemic in this country.
It's showing right here.
That is the only explanation as to why a Davis Mills. Now, granted, we're talking the Prism Black Finite, right?
Yes, it's the Prism Black Finite. Yeah. It's one of his holy grail cards, but
it's Davis Mills.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, he's starting. I could see Davis Mills outselling Kellen Mond.
Yeah.
But he's still the Texans quarterback.
Yeah.
And granted, Trevor Lawrence is still the Jags quarterback.
Which, thank you guys, by the way, for sending Laviska over to Carolina. Appreciate it. Keep on going.
So there's really no explanation to it. Well, so let me rephrase. There's two explanations to it. One of them I already mentioned, and that's drugs.
Yeah.
The other one is money laundering. The same reason that a 1990 Fleer Jose Uribe sold for $750,000. Money laundering. Nobody in their right mind would spend $40,000 on a Davis. I don't care if it's the Black Finite 101. I don't care if it's gold plated and covered in diamonds.
I don't care if he made it himself, slept with it. I don't care.
I wasn't going to go that far, but there's nobody in their right mind that either one sees Davis Mills as a massive long-term investment, or two is even that big of a Davis Mills fan.
Yeah,
where they would say, $40,000, okay, seems reasonable,
right?
There's nothing reasonable about that, and it's crackish.
Yeah,
there's a street pharmacist out there laughing his ass off, being like, "Yeah, I'm responsible for that."
Yeah, right.
And
that was some good shit, wasn't it, buddy?
Yeah, I was like, "Damn, I gotta put more of that out there." Or maybe he's realizing that, man, I should be selling cards in addition to crack.
Exactly.
But I'm not entirely sure what this person was thinking.
The only thing I can think of, and this is the only possible thing that I can think of, is I'm looking at the Texans schedule, and they start off the first 3 weeks with the Colts, Broncos, and Bears. So if you're looking at Colts, Broncos, and Bears, I guess you're making a $40,000 bet that he has one good game and you can pump it real fast.
Well,
this has to be the definition of a quick flip, because like you said, you're not investing long-term in him. He's not. I mean, look, yeah, he's a starting quarterback. I can point to a lot of other starting quarterbacks that are total shit.
Yep.
So, I mean, let's be honest. We might have one in Carolina. I don't know yet.
And we might have one in Chicago. It's
Yeah.
I can't see somebody spending $40,000 on a Justin Fields Black Finite 101. Now here's the thing. You're looking at their schedule. You're talking about Indianapolis, Denver, and Chicago. All right. All right. Chicago could have a solid game, especially that Khalil Mack's not there anymore.
It's more the Colts I was looking at, like that week 1 flip.
But the Colts have a decent defense.
I know.
And they got Matt Ryan. What are you looking at? The
Broncos? It's a lot harder after that.
So. I know, and the Broncos got Russell Wilson and a good defense. Yeah. So, I mean, maybe he's looking at a week 3 flip.
I mean, after that, they do have a little easy schedule where. I mean, they really don't have an easy schedule, like an easy stretch where you can have a couple of good games to really pump him up. So, I mean, this dude's got to be gambling on teams don't have a lot of film on him. Maybe he'll get a week or 2 that he can, or put up some decent numbers, get a little bit of hype and flip it really quickly.
Wait, I got a third option.
Okay.
I got a third option. Aside from drugs, aside from money laundering.
Okay.
Maybe he bought it with the intention of selling it for a loss in order to take the tax write-off.
Hey.
That actually seems, if you've got a ton of money, you don't want to sell off the stuff that you have that you really like at a loss, but you need something to be able to take a good-sized tax write-off. That actually seems more reasonable for somebody who's willing to spend $40,000 on a Davis Mills.
I think we just figured it out. And I think that's something that a lot of the hobby doesn't understand when it comes to cards like this. In terms of value going down, they always say, oh, they're left with the bag. Well,
not really.
Not really.
I know.
When it comes to cards like that, when it comes to base Vlad Guerrero PSA 10s that were 150 down to 50, people are held with a bag, but when it comes to these big cards, not necessarily.
No, in fact, I had a conversation with a friend of ours who was told by his accountant that even though the market is down, sell some things at a loss in order to offset the gains that he made on other stuff.
There you go.
Take the tax right. I'm willing to bet, you know what? Now, the more I think about it, I'm willing to bet that's what this is going to be. And that is probably the most reasonable of the 3 options that I gave you. Drugs is probably number 2.
Yeah, I think we said no drugs. He was on drugs no matter what. I'm convinced on the drugs part, but I think we might have finally figured this out.
Yeah, buy a big card, sell it at a loss, make it look like oh, poor me, I made a mistake, or people are just going to laugh at you, but you're taking the tax write-off on it. And that's my number 1 reason right now as to why somebody would do something like that.
I think we figured it out. But if you did miss it, everybody, Davis Mills doubling up Black Finites on a Trevor Lawrence autograph patch, which I think was a steal at $22,000 compared to the $40K for Davis Mills. But we'll move on now, Scott, to one more thing that we wanted to discuss today before we wrap today's show up. As I said, it was a jam-packed one. We started with a controversy. We are going to end with a controversy, and it is a big one. Now, I mentioned on just a couple shows ago, and we were talking about a lot of stuff with the Trim Brady. Yep. But I thought that there was a lot more at play when it came to faking cards and things like that than just one person doing a couple of cards. Well, another week, another thing that supports my theory 1000%. For those of you that have not heard, back in the day, a product was a basketball product. Some of you may have never even heard of this product, which is mind-blowing to me. But there was a product called EX2000 and EX2001. Well, what you could do was you could send in wrappers, and for a wrapper redemption program, and get uncut sheets. The more you send in, they would give you the paralleled versions. Now, the parallel versions would not be numbered, but you would have an uncut sheet. Keep in mind, these are 97, 98s. You've got the Kobe's, the Jordans, the Duncans, the Dirks, all of these just massive guys in their first couple of years. The sets become iconic. Well, it turns out that somebody has been purchasing, it looks like now they've purchased up to 5 uncut sheets from various auction houses in the last year, including the Essential Credentials Futures uncut sheet from Golden just a few weeks ago. Now, nothing wrong with this, right? You know, everything's in check. Well, these cards started popping up in Beckett's slabs with serial numbers on them, and it has been confirmed that these have been cut up, the serial numbers added to the cards, and they've done such a good enough job with these. And keep in mind, this is not normal card stock. This is very, I mean, this is almost
it's multi-layer acetate.
Yes,
is what these cards are. They're
very, very tough to cut cards.
Yes,
and they're passing through BGS grading. Now, we have found out who made these purchases, and it is a very well-known scammer, Terry Akers from Ohio. He has been known to do some stuff like this before. He's been involved in a lot of big scams in the past. Obviously, Kentucky Consignments, who handled the cards that were sold, and Golden and everyone will not reveal the information of the buyers' names and things like that due to privacy issues in their company, but due to some research and everything from the people at Blowout and everybody, we have found out that it is Terry Akers involved in some way, shape, or form. But be on the lookout if you're purchasing these cards. But Scott, this could be a huge problem because these cards are not $200 cards.
No, not at all. Even the scrub players, that are in there, and I think the sheet that they used in the picture, I think was the pink, which I want to say were numbered to like 39 or something.
They were numbered to 40, I believe, 39 or 30 or 40, something like that.
Yeah. I've had a couple of them come across my hands that people have sent me to grade, and it's mind-blowing what even the scrubs sell for.
It's incredible.
This isn't just, but you're looking at a, especially at a high grade, a Jordan.
Oh God.
Or a Kobe out of that is well into the 5 figures.
A Kobe is insane, especially. I mean, it's the second year. It's huge. It's one of his biggest cards that you can get of Kobe. It's in his top 10.
It's one of those things that brings up a lot of questions because they use a very, Fleer used a very specific machine to put the serial numbers on these cards. So the guys that did it obviously got their hands on one of those machines.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, the serial numbers look different. You can tell
they do look a little different, but not enough. I mean, obviously not enough for Beckett to catch it. Now, some of them that have come up lately that we've found look a little worse than others, but most of them look identical, which is just terrifying to me.
Yeah, and this is kind of if they got their hands on the exact machine, the exact model machine that Fleer used to put the serial numbers on those cards, it's a very similar situation to the Star cards where the guy, the former owner got his hands on, or kept the printing equipment and the plates and stuff like that and made identical copies where you couldn't tell the difference.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden we have a massive problem. I mean, there's a lot of people that are going to have to answer for this.
Mm-hmm.
And this falls under the card porn account on Instagram did mention that the FBI is involved. And, again, I'm not entirely sure how they know or whether or not that's accurate, but it wouldn't surprise me if they were because of the amount, the value that we're talking about here. And this does fall under the category of art fraud.
100%.
And forgery.
Yeah.
So even though the cards themselves are not forged because those came from the uncut sheets from Fleer, the serial numbers are forged.
Yes. Once you put the serial numbers on, cut them up, and try and pass them off as a legit card that's pack pulled, that's
Yep.
The major problem.
Now, if they had cut the cards, not added the serial numbers, and said, "Hey, this is from an uncut sheet,"
right?
Then perfectly fine.
Yep.
Legit. Now, I wouldn't do it because the value in the uncut sheet is better than than trying to cut the cards up.
Yeah.
But without the serial numbers on it, and you're being open and transparent that, hey, we cut these out of an uncut sheet. Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the minute they add the serial numbers on there, it falls under the art, fraud, and forgery category, which absolutely at this dollar level, absolutely.
Oh no, these are
the feds would get involved in.
This is massive, especially when you add in the 5 that we know of that were sold by auction houses. How many uncut sheets were they able to get a hold of from other things that weren't sold at auction houses, that were sold in private sales, that they were able to track down? If they're bold enough to do this on auction house websites, they're finding them elsewhere too. And I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to put it on the record on the show. That's why I love recording this show. I'm going to tell you right now, in the next 6 months to a year, you're going to see a massive influx of multiple serial numbers being the same. And this is going to become a major problem in the EX market because there's not a way now. These have been dispersed. And now
there is a way.
Now that they know there's a problem, the ones that haven't been slabbed by Beckett, those are going to be offloaded as raw cards at card shows.
Not necessarily. Well, yeah, those will be. But there is because we know when these sheets were purchased.
Right.
So anything that was slabbed prior to the purchase of those sheets is fine. Yeah. Because you've got and you've got the slab serial number. You could look it up. You can see the date that it was slabbed, and as long as it's before that,
but any after
those cards are fine. But anything that pops up after the fact, now we may have a problem. In fact, I think we will.
Thing that blows my mind, because if you look at the Beckett serial numbers and you look at everything, they submitted these in bulk. They submitted these multiple at a time. You can tell by where the serial numbers are on the ones that they caught. They didn't mix these in with hundreds of other cards. I just, it comes back to paying attention when you're doing stuff. If I see 35 EX essential credentials futures coming into my office at once, I mean, most of these cards, especially big names, these cards are getting looked at by multiple people. Somebody's got to look at it and be like, whoa, what's going on here?
Exactly. Now, I will say I had 2 pinks that popped across my desk of the exact same player that were sent to me by 2 different people. Mm-hmm. They were both John Stockton. At the exact same time, and both of these guys who sent them to me were in Asia. One was in Taiwan, one was in Hong Kong. They were legit. I wasn't questioning that. They had 2 different serial numbers on it, and it was just like, okay, well, I need to make sure this guy's serial number goes back to this guy, and the other guy gets the one he sent. But the fact that I even saw 2 of the same player numbered that low at the same time. Now, it didn't raise any red flags as far as them being fake. But it's like, holy crap! What are the odds?
Right.
What are the odds of this happening?
Right.
And that's what somebody needs to look out for. Is like, okay, what are the odds that somebody all of a sudden gets their hands on?
And not just assume that they're fake automatically, but just maybe give it a little extra attention. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, frankly, if these guys are smart, they'll buy up a bunch of legit ones and mix in like 2 or 3 of the fakes with 10 of the real ones. But then it causes a bigger problem because you've got to scrutinize all of them.
Exactly.
And
these have got to be scrutinized forever now. These have got to go on a list at every grading company. These have got to be looked at by the expert graders, by multiple graders. These have got to be looked at by hopefully using any new technology you can. You got to be able to distinguish these, just how PSA was recently able, even though they won't disclose it, how they were able to figure out the difference in the star cards. We've got to figure out a way to differentiate these, which the serial numbering process, I'm assuming, will help. And I'm sure there will be some ways to figure this out. But those old rapper redemption programs causing some problems 20 some years later.
I mean, my biggest concern is that they did such a good job with these things that Beckett couldn't tell the difference.
I know. That's the scary part. And like I said, I'm glad that we found one person associated with it. Hopefully that can lead to a lot of other people, but obviously privacy information prohibiting that from being easy and quick. But
well, as far as we're concerned,
yes.
If the FBI is involved, yeah, they're going to get through that issue pretty quickly.
Yeah, they'll get those answers at least a lot faster than we will. But Scott, I think that's probably a good spot to wrap up this week's episode. What do you think?
I think so.
I think we covered a whole wide range of topics this week.
Next week, I know we'll be talking about baseball prospects.
Yes,
that's that September call-up window. We'll see, and we'll definitely be talking about Gunnar Henderson and his amazing debut the other day. Unfortunately, we didn't have time to talk about that this week.
No, absolutely. But guys, like Scott said, we will be back next week with a ton of new stuff, just like we are every single week. Once again, I'd like to thank our awesome sponsors, Vanity Slabs, Card Ladder, Show Your Slabs, Slab Strong, and Denver Card Shows. Thank you guys so much for sponsoring the show. We could not do this show without you guys. And of course, check out Let It Rip. We had an all-new episode drop last night of Upper Deck Extended Series. And of course, Hobby Hotline every single Saturday and Tuesday. Saturday mornings, Tuesday nights. But until next week, guys, you know the deal. Keep ripping those packs, pulling those hits. We'll talk to you then. Peace.